So, I guess I should show you what I'm eating for dinner, although it doesn't really matter. It's corn, Romanesco broccoli with gnocchi, and um, a sauce I made with uh, half a colander full of tomatoes for the both of us, and James has the tomato juice. And anyway, I made him um, juice from that, and plus the 4 bell peppers. And he has stuff from yesterday, it looks like. Now, I made myself, I just have some tomato seeds drying on this lid. I made myself cucumber juice. So that's 4 cucumbers, pretty decent sized ones. Anyway, I was going to talk about Homeland, and it's very well made. This season, complete 7th season. I mean, Claire Danes is the star, and she's a decent actress, and there's a lot of talent in the show. Now the president is. You know what? I'm gonna let James talk about the show. It's worth watching. That's all I'll say. And it's hard for me to watch because it reminds the main actress, the character in this. I'm tired. The character reminds me of one of my loved ones, and it also reminds James of one of my loved ones. And so it's a little bit tough. But anyway, I just wanted to mention, I guess. Now there was this time when somebody was doing wrong to me. It was very obviously wrong, and when I reacted within my rights, and totally justifiably, whatever, it was not expected because I'm very passive, and so I was being assertive, and I certainly got punished for that by an aggressive person who was wronging me. And this person called me a crazy bitch, and this was the only time in my life when I'd been called that. And when I told James, he was like, well, that's just a saying sort of thing. And I'm like, what? And I was shocked that people actually call this just, it's just, it's like calling somebody a whatever. It's not acceptable. But apparently it's commonplace, and it was shocking to me. It was like I was, let's see, almost 40 years old at the time, I think. And so it was just like, whoa. This was very shocking for me, but apparently it's just something that I wasn't exposed to somehow in my life up until then. But I guess a lot of women are. And but anyway, so I was thinking about that while watching this, and I was thinking about my loved one, and how like she was going through, she had a breakdown, and it's really a tough time, and I was trying to hold it together. It was at the time James was terminal, and her abusive spouse was phoning me and calling me a gold digger and stuff because I was caring for, at the time I wasn't even married to him. I was just caring for him, caring for James while he was terminal. And my sister was, and my mom was, and we were all of this energy, there were some good professional caregivers, like a couple doctors in Grand Prairie who were also caring for him. It took a lot of energy to bring him back. A lot of other people's energy, and that's the truth of it, is all of the energy comes from somewhere, from some people, and when you're sucking energy from other people, you gotta replenish it. It's anyway. So the spouse of the loved one that was breaking down at the time. So he was calling me a gold digger, and James was just laughing about it because he was like, "What gold?" Because he didn't have anything, and at the time I wasn't in any position to get any of it. So I wasn't benefiting at all, and but this guy was just trying to break me because I was also trying to provide support for the loved one that he was trying to destroy. And it's really a funny world. It's later on. So he was saying all sorts of things. He was just lashing out, and I'd went through it with my ex, so this was just whatever he was saying wasn't going to break me. I'd been through. I had a lot of experience that I hadn't talked about with anybody, and I've always been a lot stronger of a person than this loved one, but it breaks my heart thinking about it because I care for her so much. Anyway, and so he was constantly saying, "Oh, you don't know her. She lies. She this and that." And she's and I'm just thinking, wow, you don't know me because you don't know how much I know her and how much I actually care. So none of the things he was saying were going to let her fall. And he was saying she's bipolar, this, that, and whatever, and he was trying to convince her of that. And the thing is when my ex was trying to get at me, he was saying that too. He was saying, "Oh, you're bipolar, you're this, da da da." And the funny thing is, I took I took most of the Gale courses because I like learning. And anyway, but I took this one Gale course in particular that was talking about mental health and how when it comes to anxiety disorders, likes attract. It's not opposites, it's likes. So if you're with somebody with an anxiety disorder, which this person happened to be with, he should have been looking in the mirror, because he certainly it's good to try to correct your own mental deficiencies before you go trying to destroy other people. But anyway, I was just thinking about how different people deal with things, and the loved one that I had, she was willing to accept anything that he said, and she still is. And even when she went to professionals for mental health, and they were recommending that she gets off the medication that she'd been put on and take high dose omega-3 and this and that same kind of stuff I was reading about and I was doing myself, because the professionals didn't think she actually had mental problems. She needed nutrients. She needed nutrition. And that's what I was telling her. And I thought, gosh, if I could get her away and feed her, for a year. Anyway, but he just kept on at her. And she's still on medication so that she can sleep and stuff like that. And he'd recommended a house for her that's right by a train track with level crossing. So it's the train whistle blows. So that was really nice of him. But I mean, she's on medication, so she could sleep through anything. So it kind of backfired for him, I think. Anyway, I mean, I could laugh about all that, but I happen to actually care about the person that he's trying to destroy. I don't think he's in any position to do that anymore, so that's good at least. But what I was going to say is, when she was reacting that way and just buying into everything, when my ex was making those same sort of suggestions of me, I just thought, oh, maybe you're right, and how can I test this? Because this is what I do. I like to learn. So if I'm putting myself as a guinea pig or whatever to try to, or I don't know, test subject was better. Anyway, so I started recording all sorts of things. So he'd tell me, oh, that didn't happen. I'd say, you said da-da-da-da, or this happened, and he'd be like, no, that didn't happen, and you're thinking things are there when they're not. And he was really, I was getting to the point where I was thinking, maybe you're right, but I tested it. And what I did is I started recording all of my conversations and leaving cameras while I was sleeping to record video to see what was going on. And it was going on. So, I mean, at some point, you're with somebody that's not treating you well. And you can just accept what they're going to say and whatever and go along and medicate to try to blank that out. Or you can, the technology's there. And they won't see it coming. They won't expect you to actually set up cameras. They won't expect you to start recording because they really think they're in control of you. They think you're just the stupidest sub-person, not even human. They really think that. That's how they can do these things to you. So they won't expect you to set that up, and you can never tell them because, when you see what they're actually doing, and just imagine how upset they will be when they find out. Anyway, but you're the only one who can get yourself out of that relationship, and you just have to stop believing them, because they won't stop. They won't. So anyway, that's all I wanted to mention.